All right, you're in the chapter where you're dealing with linear equations, something that has a constant rate of change. And you've been asked to find slope over and over and time again, whether it's in a table, on a graph, given an equation. Here's a new scenario where we give you only 2 points and we ask you to determine the slope. Now, what I oftentimes will see a student do is they'll take a piece of graph paper out, they'll go and they'll start graphing out 5 over 7 up, they'll make a dot, 1 over 3 up, they'll make a dot, and then they connect it, and then they find the rise over the run. Okay, this takes a lot of time to do, it's time consuming, and what if you didn't have a piece of graph paper or you don't have a graph to work off of? Then you would not be able to figure out what your slope is. That is why we have what's called the slope formula, which is what we use to determine slope when given 2 points. I'm going to write that right here in the middle. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. This is essentially just a formula that is going to help you to determine what change in Y over change in X is. And we all know change in Y over change in X is how we find our slope. So let's take a peek at this, find out how to do one. This first problem, what I will always teach my students to do is label X, Y, X, Y underneath each one of the ordered pairs. This is your first ordered pair. This is your second. So I put little ones, little twos. Now all I need to do is ask myself y2 minus y1. Y2 is the 7 minus the 3, which is my y1. Y2 minus y1, 7 minus 3. That goes on top. X2 minus x1, 5 minus 1. And this will give me my rise over my run, or in other words, my slope. 7 minus 3 is going to give me 4. 5 minus 1 is going to give me 4. So I now know that my slope is 4 over 4. Or in other words, we would simplify that down to 1. Slope of 1. Over here with this problem, what's different about this problem is you have a negative value in there. You have a -3 and a -4. So we got to be careful when dealing with negatives and plugging them into the slope formula. I'll tell you exactly why. Again, x, y, x, y. This is my first. This is my second. I'm going to take y2 minus y1. -4 minus y1, which is -3. Why in the world would I put parentheses around that? Because we are subtracting a negative. And when you are subtracting a negative, what are we really doing? We are adding. Okay, so we got to be careful there. And then x2 minus x1. x2 minus x1 goes on the bottom. 5 minus 2. All right, -4 minus -3. Subtracting a negative is really adding, so -4 plus, I like to just combine them and make a big plus sign. -4 plus 3 gives me -1. That's going to go on top. 5 minus 2 is going to give me 3. So I have -1 on top, a +3 on bottom. A negative divided by a positive is a negative result. So my answer for slope here would be -1/3. This line that goes through these 2 points is going to drop 1, run 3. This line is going to rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. We would do it over and over and over again. So if you're finding dots that are further away from each other, rise 4, run 4. Same as rising 1, running 1, just doing it 4 times. All right, finding slope from 2 points. How do we do it? Boom, right there. We call it the slope formula. Study it, memorize it. It's going to give you your change in Y over your change in X every single time. Study hard. Good luck on your upcoming test.